Hi there, everyone. This is just a brief video to summarise the first week. Doesn't time fly? Got through the first week already. I've made a few notes and a few points I wanted to mention, a few highlights, and also a bit about plans for next week. So it won't take very long. Okay, so first of all, thanks to all of you for some great contributions already. It's been really busy. I've just been hunting through all the posts and trying to find the video about the Stonehenge converting to the Bronze Age. I couldn't remember who had actually shared that, but I finally found it amongst all the gems, and it was Jack. So thanks very much for that, Jack. If you haven't seen it, it's a cartoon. It's well worth watching. But very ironic and quite close to home, I think. So have a look at that if you haven't seen it already. Okay, in terms of admin, now I've asked you to create your blogs if you haven't got one already. I know some of you haven't done this kind of thing before. There is a list and there's a link from the module homepage to submit the URL of your blog to a list. So there's only about half the group in there so far. So if those of you who haven't yet done that could do so, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And also I put an announcement up the other day about our MOOC, our massive open online course that's starting tomorrow, which we're really excited about. And I just wanted to mention this briefly because I think it's a really good opportunity for you guys to engage beyond your own module, because in the MOOC it's a free open course, so there'll be people from all over the world in there, and the course actually is very similar to the first few weeks of yours. So it's not as though there's any extra content there or any extra work in that sense for you. It will all look very familiar, but there will be discussions, obviously. So you may well want to contribute some of the examples you've shared here with the wider group as well, or get into some different discussions, whatever you think adds value. And there is another group, bear with me, there is another group of students who are taking, again, a very similar module to this, and that starts tomorrow as well. And those are campus-based students doing a master's program in international business, mainly, I think. And they have got what we call a blended module. They've got some classroom sessions, but they've also got a lot of online activities with again, very similar content and discussions to you. So because your module and their module are on completely separate platforms, you can't engage with those students directly, but because I'm recommending the MOOC to both of your U groups, then that would be like a third space that you can engage with each other and also with the wider group of learners as well. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, I have written a note about it in the announcement section, and it would be great if some of you could be active in there as well. Right, what else did I want to say about week one? Yeah, lots of really good stuff. Slow journalism, I was particularly interested in. I've not come across that before. Thank you, Joanne, for sharing that example. I thought that would get us back into a whole long discussion about fake news. And I'm sure that's looming at some point. Okay, and I mentioned the Stone Age video. Lots of examples in the early section about you think your industry will look very different in the future. And I think the key takeaway from this exercise is that yes is the overwhelming answer, because we've had examples from, where are we? Construction, translation, education, retail, the water industry, beauty industry, marketing and engineering. So that's quite a wide range of industries, all of which seem to have a number of quite radical challenges associated with their futures. So this is where the diversity of your group and your experiences and your locations really comes into its own, that you can share such a wide range of examples. So thank you very much for that. Okay, I noted as well the subject of the fourth industrial revolution seems to have caught your imaginations in a big way. Some of you had not come across the term before. So yeah, it's a big issue, and I think I like the point of all the many discussions about this. Anya's point about noting that that isn't really just an industry issue, it's about society as a whole. The fourth industrial revolution sounds from its title as though it just relates to kind of a subset of society, but actually there's very little that's not going to be touched by that. So thanks for that, Anya. Right, okay, then we had an exercise about, do we think the fourth industrial revolution is massively different from what's gone before, or is it a continuation? We've had a look at the scores so far, and we've actually got 10 of you have said you think it's fundamentally different versus 5 who think it isn't. I guess it's one of those questions that doesn't have a right or a wrong answer, certainly at this stage. I think it's possibly one of those topics that in 50 years or 100 years' time, it will look quite obvious that there was a step change from one revolution to another. But when you're in the middle of it, it's all just very messy and muddled and isn't necessarily obvious. And I'm sure that was the case for earlier revolutions as well. Okay, we also had some great examples of artificial intelligence that we shared. And something that occurred to me reading this was there was some digital Siri in particular was mentioned, and another one called Amelia. That was Saranus and Joanne who contributed those. Why are they always female? Just a point that occurred to me. I don't know if anyone's got any examples of male digital assistants. Is there something going on there in terms of gender that's worth noting? Okay, and finally, 3D printing. Again, loads of great examples of videos that you've shared about 3D printing, and I guess the one I'd like to highlight as probably the most fundamentally useful is that of the 3D printing of human organs, which is kind of spooky, but also massive implications there, all sorts of ethical and medical issues, but certainly a very interesting example, and we need to thank Gail for that one. So I think I'm wittering on and on. I said this would be a short video. So I think that's all the notes I've gleaned from reading through week 1. Most of you have contributed. Some of you have contributed lots. That's fantastic. If you haven't yet contributed, please do so. It would be great to know you're there and how you're getting on. And obviously, if you've got any questions, then feel free to raise them at any time. So we're now going into week 2 already, and hopefully there'll be lots more interesting discussions there. And worth bearing in mind, the blog post, your first blog post will be due by the end of this week, so a week today. So again, any questions, please shout, or do have a look at some of the examples from people who've done this before if you're stuck for ideas. Okay, so I think I'll shut up now. You'll be pleased to hear. So thanks very much again for all your work so far, and I look forward to week 2. Cheerio for now.